Hey guys, today we're going to be doing a All Bosses Glitchless speedrun of Hellpoint. I've been working on this run for a little bit. Routing it was rather complicated, so I have a lot of notes that I'll be looking at throughout the run. I'll try to explain things as I go through it, but if you guys have questions, feel free to leave comments and I'll respond to those when I get a chance. This is actually my first serious attempt at this. So I won't be resetting on this run unless we make any really egregious mistakes in the beginning. The initial part of this run is going to be fairly similar to the any percent glitchless run. So feel free to take a look at that for like more detail. I won't be talking through like every single point of it, but we are skipping a couple of items here that we would normally get in the any percent run. The reason being that we can actually get those later at a more opportune time. So right now we're just going to be running around here waiting for the elevator to come down. The main point here is just ensuring that the enemies stay away from the door and don't block your path. So we'll be coming up on the first boss here in a sec, who's pretty much a cakewalk once you get used to his patterns. The main trick is just really being aggressive and getting in as many hits as possible. That attack is kind of the only one you need to look out for because the hitbox is insane. If you can get in dodging attacks, that's actually optimal because they do more damage. Okay, that wasn't too bad. We can mash through all of this dialogue. So in this area, we're actually going to go back to an older strat of getting a breach synchronizer earlier on, and that's because we need as many breach synchronizers as possible during this run because we're going to be traveling back and forth quite a lot So that's going to save a lot of time in the long run. It doesn't matter what conductor we use at the start, because we're going to be putting all of our points into energy and foresight. We can just start with energy, and we'll get a little bit of foresight later. Those are predominantly the only two stats that we're going to be investing in. At some point, we do want to get free strength, and I'll talk more about that later when we get there. But for the most part, we can utilize the items that we get in order to help us get some specific stat requirements that we need later on. That was actually kind of close. You'll also see quite a bit of this during the run. Loading back in will typically take you back to the last breach. So that saves quite a bit of travel time at several points. Coming up is the Elevator of Boredom, which is long and unavoidable, unfortunately. So this run is going to be, as I mentioned, pretty similar to the any percent starting out, but then once we get to Alma Mater, things are going to start changing pretty drastically. I'm looking at where the black hole hour is at the moment. It's a little far away, honestly, from where I would want it to be. I would want it to be closer to the bottom position, or maybe even a little bit before that. We'll need to interact with one of the Archon Knights during Black Hole Hour, essentially. And we can try to fit that anywhere in during the run apart from right at the start. I'm gonna quickly just hit this breach for safety. One thing that I forgot to talk about in the beginning was you saw me pick up some armor at the observatory, and we'll be doing that later as well, because even though we don't use armor, okay, that wasn't completely intended, but I'll take it. We do want to collect a bit of Incellium during this run, because we're going to need that for the AI patch conductor as well as crafting a couple of other items. And so we'll be breaking down some of the stuff we find for Incellium later. Okay, time for Bridge Kitty. This is probably, honestly, one of my favorite bosses to fight. He's very pattern-based. A little bit of a mistake there. This fight does take a little while though, because it's we're not very strong at this point in the game. It's giving me some weird patterns here. Hopefully we can get him into a little bit of a better cycle. This is optimally what we want, is the lunge attack. We're getting there. I was a little greedy at the end there, but worked out all right. You know, I realized that I read the clock face wrong earlier. Black hole hour is actually in a really good position for us, I think. Yeah, we don't need to hit the breach here, actually. Oh, you know, we do actually need to hit this, because I need to check my notes. This is actually the first breach we're going to sink. We'll be coming back here 2 more times actually during the run, so that's important. Get this one for safety. Actually, we'll be teleporting back here too, so it's useful. I believe there's, yeah, some Incelium there. Raw Incelium is not worth very much, but every bit counts. Decent fish RNG there. So here we get our weapon that we'll be using for the rest of the run, the Hedron of Light. It's a great weapon, doesn't have any stat requirements, does a ton of damage, can stagger enemies pretty easily, decent range on the attack. The only thing you gotta try to make sure is that all of your projectiles hit, because it kind of has a spread fire like a shotgun. So you need to be close enough to where all of your bullets are hitting, so to speak. coming up is one of probably the toughest bosses in the run. Just because he's quite deadly and we're not very powerful yet. So we're gonna have to be pretty careful here. And try to lure him down the steps. I can't really fight him up there because it's there's not enough space. There we go. That's good. Oh, he canceled the projectile attack there. I've never seen that before. That's crazy. Okay, we're gonna need like one more hit. Nice. That is actually the best boss fight I've had versus this guy, like, ever. So I'm pretty happy with that. So timing coming up is going to be a little tricky because we're almost at an accretion storm. So we might have to reset the game to clear that up if we don't finish the next boss quickly enough. Oh, we're actually in the accretion storm right now, so that's it's a bummer. So we'll kill the next boss. Actually, what we might do right here is quit the game. And load back in, because that should help clear up the accretion storm. I wonder where that is going to put us back at. Hopefully just at the last breach. Yep, looks like it. That's good. Oh, that's funny. We're actually still in an accretion storm, but right at the end of one instead of the beginning. That's fine though. That gives us a little bit of time to fight the boss, and then maybe we'll have to reset again after that, but that's fine. There's some other stuff we can do in the meantime as well. We have a lot to do in this area, actually. This is where we really start collecting a lot of items that we're going to need for the patch conductor. That was a little scary. Okay, so here we'll have to use, well, I guess we could probably just quit out and save some time. So we did manage to avoid the accretion storm, but the area is still locked off, so we need to just load back in, I think. It does add a little bit of complexity, honestly, to the run that I'm not super psyched about, but because there's already too many other things to think about. But you know, it's a core mechanic of the game, so you can't really complain too much about it. I think if I were to say one thing, it would be that I don't think accretion storm should block off key progression routes. It'd be fine if it were like side areas, you know? Yeah, so now we can get through here. Now we're going to start doing some interesting stuff in just a little bit. I'm pretty psyched to get off of the 80% route and into the major differences in the All Bosses run. So after we kill the ballerina coming up, we're actually going to be looping back to Arcology and Son District. But first we're going to do an attempt at one of the Archonites in this area. Wow, that projectile just disappeared out of existence. I have to say, like, so far we've been playing like pretty flawlessly. I was worried about losing a lot of time on those initial bosses because they can be tricky. Hopefully we'll keep our streak running here. Oh, that was a little sketch right there. I'm gonna run around here, get a little bit more space. Okay, that's actually perfect. I was a little bit late on the counterattack there, You gotta be careful because she can recover from that attack and counterattack you back, which does a lot of damage. You don't want to get hit by any of her like melee combos. I'm actually gonna space out a little bit here. Very good so far. Okay, now we're gonna get into some interesting shit. I'm actually curious to see how hard this boss fight is gonna be. If it turns out to be a little tricky, we might loop back here later. I've only ever fought the Archon Knights at a very high level. So let's see how this works out. We'll also be getting another breach synchronizer from this area. As I mentioned, they're kind of going to be key in terms of getting around easily. Yeah, so we want to go out a long way because that'll put us right where the breach synchronizer is supposed to be. Nice. Oh yeah, and then I have to remember that this is all reversed. But yeah, this is the cave where we want to fight the first Archon Knight. Oh yeah, we do tons of damage, it's fine. His shield does block almost everything though, so we gotta be... Oh, hello. That's not great. I've not practiced these fights pretty much at all, by the way, so... I guess I'm happy that worked out. We can go up to about 20 foresight here. And Now we're gonna do some other fun stuff. I could have saved that and try to upgrade it, upgrade my Hedron now that I think about it, but we'll get more stuff to upgrade that with in a bit, so. We fight a lot of bosses in this run, so there's plenty of Axions to go around. Next, we're gonna just loop around and open up this shortcut. This is technically not necessary, but it's sort of like a safe strat. Effectively, if we don't die on UFOs, we never need to come through this area. But UFOs can be tricky, so I'm gonna do it just in case. And next I'm gonna actually loop back around to where we were before. This area is always just like pretty nerve-wracking. Reminds me so much of the Silver Knight archers in Dark Souls. So what we're doing now is we're getting the alumina crafting material. These guys can be somewhat annoying because they're very agile. Did I actually miss the thing I was trying to get? I think I did. As you can tell, this is a very fresh route, so expect mistakes. There it is. I was worried that I'd actually forgotten where that was. I think we can actually continue on from here. Oh, well, that jump was a little too far. Never mind. I forget that the jump or the fall damage in this game is actually insane. Probably if I'd rolled when I landed, I might have survived that, but it's okay. It's not a huge time loss, so. Actually, now that I think about it, I should have done this part later, because we are going to synchronize a breach on the other side of this. I suppose I could have done that a little bit earlier. But it's fine. Oh, you know, this is actually the wrong breach. We're supposed to go to arcology. I was thinking that we were ready to go to Arisen Domain already, but that's a little bit later. So next we're gonna go through Son District. I think Son District is actually one of the more interesting areas in the run, and it's kind of fun to navigate. At least I think so. It does have the most annoying casual run through boss though. I guess you could technically mash through the dialogue now because you've opened up the other path already. Okay. Whoa. Camera angle almost killed me there. I actually try not to use the lock-on in this area if I can avoid it. Oh, you're gonna get in my way like that? That's unfortunate. There we go. I think you could technically just walk over there, but it's a little scary. That part is quite fun, if a little bit scary. This is definitely one of the more complex parts of the run, honestly, in terms of routing. I like killing the enemies here. You could probably try to get by them without, but I feel like it's safer if you do. You can skip that breach. Sometimes the breaches are like suspiciously close together in this game, kind of similar to how a lot of the bonfires are in Dark Souls 3. There's a good meme about bonfires in Dark Souls 3, where it's just like a guy looking over a field of bonfires. It's like bonfires everywhere. Okay, didn't really need to touch it, but we do need to activate it in case we die here. So the upcoming boss fight is quite annoying in the casual playthrough. Luckily, we're like fairly overpowered at this point, so hopefully it shouldn't be too much of an issue, but we're also like complete glass cannons, so I wouldn't be surprised if we take a death here. Okay. We should be good now. As long as like that guy's down, I feel fairly confident about the second half of this fight. But still, you need to be careful because this guy has a lot of really powerful attacks, so... Oh, that was tricky. He teleported while casting a spell in a different location. I'll be somewhat annoyed if I actually die on this fight. Oh, he's just gonna keep casting that? Yeah, I'm just gonna play this fairly safe, guys, and take a little bit of a time loss here as opposed to dying. I do need him to play a little bit more cooperatively, though. One more hit. Okay. That got very messy towards the end, but I'm glad we did it. Okay, next we're gonna need to talk to the architect. Have a little nice conversation with this guy. Okay. So we want to synchronize this breach. Because we'll need to come back here later too. And next up, we're going to open up a shortcut to get back to Arcology. This is going to be important for one of the Archon Knight fights later. I do kind of hope that I don't end up having to reset a clock again, because at some point it's going to be a problem in terms of timing Black Hole Hour. Oh, am I going the wrong way here? Yes. Yes, I am. Oh, you know, I hadn't actually routed that there's a synchronizer here. That's kind of nice. Okay, next we're gonna teleport back to the observatory, and then we're gonna start going through the Arisen domain in just a little bit. But first, actually, we don't want to interact with this. We want to interact with the upgrade console. Let's get up to 17 energy is fine. And I'm going to actually quit out to the menu here, guys, and use the restroom real quick. Because this is a long run, so we'll need breaks. I'll see you guys back in just a second. I'm going to leave this on the menu because I don't want to, like, invalidate the run in any way. So I'll be right back. Okay, and we are back. Sorry for the wait. I do notice that my desktop is running quite hot right now. It's very hot outside, and I'm both recording this and playing the game, obviously, simultaneously, so it's working overtime. Next, we're going to be heading up Arisen Domain, and we're also going to take a little bit of a detour to pick up the broken EVA suit, because we'll need that later on during the run. I'm quite happy with how things are progressing right now. Couple of minor mistakes here and there, but overall things have been going pretty smoothly. I am a little bit worried about getting Black Hole Hour at a reasonable time. I suppose the preferred way of doing it would be to have like an optimal start time and just reset it when you need to. But I didn't quite think that far ahead. So we're going to hit this breach. And we're going to then loop back around to get the EVA suit. I thought about whether it's faster to go from the embassy or Arisen domain here. I think in-game time it's faster to get that breach and then reset back there using a reload. I kind of wish there were more spacewalks in this game, or there were more like outside components to it, kind of like in Dead Space, because it's a very cool part of the setting that you don't interact with that much. In fact, you can kind of completely miss it if you're not looking for it. We'll be spending some time in the SAS in Arcology Underside later, though, so we'll definitely get to do a little bit of it during this run. I ended up routing the transporter boss quite late in the run because he can be kind of tricky, honestly. It's a very small room where you're fighting that boss, and he does quite a lot of damage. So we're gonna get the extra breach synchronizer here, even though we currently have a surplus, which is kind of funny. How much fall damage? Okay, not that bad. Get this for safety. Now we get some of the best items in the game that I'm very happy to be able to take advantage of in the All Bosses run. First is this, the Leech Synchronizer. Just gives us a lot more energy regen on our melee attacks, which is great. And the next item we're not going to use that much, but it's pretty good for a casual run. It's the anti-gravity module. And we're specifically going to be using that for the spacewalk sequence later on when we put on all of the armor and stuff. No need to get that breach either. I mean, not tapping a breach is like a very minor time save, but it kind of adds up over the course of the run. Okay, so in this general area, we're going to be collecting a bunch of keys that we need to progress to the next couple of bosses. Whoa. Did not intend to take those hits. I'm gonna get a sip of water here while we jump out to the menu for a sec. I'm very happy this run is in-game time. Actually, there's quite a lot of loading. I noticed in my any percent run that the run is 50 minutes roughly, and then there's 10 minutes of actual loading on top of that, which is kind of crazy. But part of that is loading, back out to the menu and loading in again, which is a little unnatural. And then my rig is also like painfully outdated. I really need to get a better one for streaming, really. Optimally, I would like to be able to both, stream and record at the same time, but right now, my computer can't really handle that. It seems. I end up dropping frames like crazy. But just one or the other is fine. I figured out that my my graphic card actually has like capabilities to oh, that was very close. If I'd hit the ground, I would have died there. My graphic card can actually process video, which helps quite a lot. This area is kind of particularly bad in terms of loading back in, because you need to collect these keys that are in like bespoke areas, and the fastest way of getting back to like the central area is just to reload. Luckily, we only need one more. Again, I'm grabbing some extra items here and there, just in case we need to break them down for Incellium later. Okay, at this point we have all the keys, so luckily you guys won't have to watch too many more loading screens. So normally we would be going up to fight Namundus next, but we're not actually going to be doing that right now. We're going to do some other stuff instead. We're basically going to head down to the mausoleum, and there's two things that we're going to be working on there. One is we need another piece of crafting material for the AI patch conductor, and then in addition to that, there's an Archon Knight down there that we want to fight. The Archon Knights are quite interesting because they're all kind of hidden away a little bit. Oh, I am being silly. That's a couple of seconds. I won't get back. Yeah, I always forget you need to actually hit that switch after activating the seals. So let me think here. What do we want to do first? I think we want to fight the... No, we want to get the crafting material first and then fight the Archon Knight, I think. I believe that's right. Again, this is my first time like actually playing this seriously after routing it, so if I do make some mistakes here and there, it's kind of to be expected. So the first thing we're gonna need is over here. Oh. That's fine, that's fine. Actually, that's gonna put us back all the way to the elevator, so it's not really fine, but it's fine. In the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of time. It might be easier to drop down there from one of the platforms. Unfortunately, as I was trying to pick up the item, I mashed the jump button a little bit too quickly. But we got the pulse mineral, which is what we needed. So now we just gotta wait for the elevator to go back down. There's quite a number of elevators in this game, but I can appreciate the added sense of space it adds. It reminds me a lot of the elevators that you get in like Super Metroid when you're traveling like up and down between the areas. It kind of creates the illusion that everything is like one big space as opposed to like separate areas that you're just loading into. Okay, so we need to go back down that area once again to where we were, and we will be entering the waterfall hidden behind here, because once again we need to go into the dark side. So this is the second out of 4 Archon Knights that we need to kill for all bosses. If it weren't for the Archon Knights, this run would actually be a little shorter and easier. The patch conductor is still probably the most like annoying part though. I have to kind of remember I don't need to pick up any of those Nihil rocks. So yeah, this is reversed, which is always super confusing. No, this way. Yeah, other way. I'm gonna try to avoid fighting any of these guys if I can. Okay, second Archon Knight fight coming up. Hopefully it'll go as smoothly as the first. Well, that wasn't quite as smooth. I guess I need to keep a little bit more of a distance there. If this sets me back at the elevator, I'll end up taking the breach in the mausoleum just to avoid having to call the elevator back down again. Hopefully it puts me at the... Okay, yes it did. Perfect. At least that's a little bit of a small comfort. I wonder if the Archon Knights end up scaling at all in terms of difficulty. So I'm guessing our best opportunity is actually just counterattacking after he does like a dive attack. These guys can also like very easily murder us, so we gotta be careful about that. I think those are actually some of my least favorite enemies, the tentacle ghosts. Oh, there's me. Fighting myself, or my ghost rather, is very scary because I do a lot of damage to myself. And I have no health, as you saw just now earlier. Okay. That's better. Yeah, we're definitely a bit of a glass cannon. That's for sure. Oh, it puts us back here. That's perfect. I was just about getting ready to load out. So it's interesting. When you die, it puts you back at the monolith, but when you kill the Archon Knight, it specifically puts you back at the last breach. Oh, we should, I should have been dumping my souls while we waited for the elevator. Let's get up to about 20 energy. So in total, I want to get probably 21 or 22 energy, and then the rest is just going to go into foresight. I'm going to put a couple of points into strength though, as I mentioned earlier. I'll be doing that pretty soon, I think. Oh, wrong button. Walk forward with courage is also something the mass AI says, I think, at some point. Okay, let's see how smoothly this fight goes. Okay. I'll take it. I'm gonna put 1 point into strength at this junction. We'll get 1 more point after Ufos. Guess we might as well get it now. We are gonna go to back to Alma Mater Atrium. Now we'll be heading to Arcology Underside. We're not going to do SAS quite yet, which is the spacewalk section. You know what? I lied earlier. You totally need to get this door open to come back through here. That's actually very important. So here's a bunch of stuff that we're gonna need. Interestingly, Hell Hour is once again getting in our way, but that's fine because we can get the Ava blueprint later on during the run. We don't have to get that now, so that's okay. Adds a minor time loss, but not that much. This is another breach that we want to synchronize. And then there's actually another breach synchronizer just in here that we're going to get. So I'm going to show you guys what I was intending to do. I would have gone through there, and then there's a blueprint that we need in that area, but we're not going to do that now because we're going to come back through here later before we do the spacewalk anyway. And then we're going to come up through this side. And what we're going to do over here is we're going to get this Incelium rod. Again, probably overkill on the Incelium. But I'd rather have too much than too little, you know. Gonna have to try to circumvent that guy. And basically what we're going to be doing here is, first of all, we're going to go fight another Archon Knight. That will be the second to last one, and then hopefully maybe we can get the fourth one pretty soon too. And we'll also be opening up the shortcut to get to Ufos. Yeah, I picked the right exit. Don't know what this is. Incelium rod. Okay, so that was good. We should have more than enough as Incelium now, counting all like the items that we have. So we already synchronized the breach that is close to here, and if we die, we'll be able to get back down here pretty quickly. Honestly, while routing this, there's so much stuff that I I'd never seen in this game before. It was super interesting. I think the more time you put into this game, like the more you see how much effort the developers put into it themselves. It's incredibly Metroid-like, I think, which is some of the highest praise I think you can give if you're into that type of game. So this section coming up is honestly terrible. Wrong way. I don't like it at all, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. We'll be running around a lot of those minor tentacle ghosts. Is there a breach here? I never noticed. We'll get that for sure. So we're going to try to just run past most of the enemies in this section. There'll be a couple that we'll have to kill. Like this guy. And this dude. Luckily, we can one-shot most of these guys at this point. And there's one up here. Took a couple more hits than I would have liked, but hopefully we can kill the Archon Knight in like one fell swoop. Well, yeah, that was pretty quick. They do, in fact, seem to scale. Because when I fought these guys at a much higher level, I had more trouble killing them, I think. So I am going to open up this shortcut just in the event that we do end up dying on this section, or rather on Ufos himself. We don't have any heals available to us right now, which is a minor problem. But we're pretty close to regenerating an injection, so I feel pretty good about going into this fight still. And we're kind of over leveled compared to what we're usually at fighting Ufos, so I was playing a little greedy there. I think I'm slightly over-eager to burst him down. Really? Again? At least we're up to 2 healing injections now, somehow. Okay. Very good. Now we're going to talk to the architect, who's hopefully going to be around here. Nope, he decided not to be here. Oh no, there he is. Okay, so we actually have like most of the stuff that we need for the AI patch conductor already. Process some resources here. And oh, we don't have the Ava suit thing yet. Okay. Because of because of the accretion storm. Interesting. Well, we're gonna just have to loop back here in a sec. This run is going super smoothly, by the way. Much better than I had actually hoped. Oh, we're still in Hell Hour though, so... That is a little bit problematic, because I don't actually want to reset the clock anymore, because I need to get to Black Hole Hour. Give me a moment, guys. I'm just gonna think about what we can do here. We could, if we can waste a little bit of time, we can just wait for the accretion storm to pass. Because we don't have anything else to do right now apart from apart from the remaining Archon Knight and SAS and then Port Issoudun. And we can't do Port Issoudun before we do SAS. So, oh, it's gone. Perfect. Almost gone. So by teleporting back to the last breach, I think that should get remove the accretion storm. Blocking that path. I guess I could probably also just enter it and get the blueprint and then run back out too. Gonna actually just clear this. Oh, you can't clear it. It's, well, let's add the Omnicube light instead. There we go. Okay, so I guess we're gonna test the theory that we can just walk in here, get the blueprint, and teleport out. I guess I could have done that a lot earlier if this works, which it obviously should. Again, guys, this run is terribly complicated, so if I make a few mistakes like this throughout, I am at the very least going to cut myself some slack. Okay, so now that we have the blueprints, we can build the spacesuit. And then you saw I picked up the cognition module as well, and that's because we'll need that in order to have enough stat points to wear the armor also. And we do actually need to wear all of this to be completely safe in the spacewalk area. Okay, so we do need more Incelium at this point. I'm actually a little bit worried that we won't have enough Incelium for the actual AI patch conductor. You guys might actually have to hang with me for a sec when I look up where to get more Incelium later. I know there's some, you can get a bunch in Arisen domain, so it shouldn't be that big of an issue. I should not also be wearing all of this armor right now. I'm also going the wrong way, kind of. Here we have a fun instance of a random enemy spawning due to sort of the game's scaling difficulty system. I mean, the good thing is we can actually break down the Ava suit itself for Incelium once we're done with this area. Getting kind of close to Hell Hour also. Definitely gonna touch this breach, because this area we're coming up on is pretty treacherous. Though again, like in terms of theme and style and everything, I really like this this sort of outside area. It's very cool. I wish you only needed to wear 3 parts of the armor and not all of it, because the speed difference is quite noticeable. So we'll be going for the nervous wiring first, which is one of the items you need for the I kill that guy if I have to, if he clocks me as I'm going through here, because he can kind of mess you up a little bit. totally did not realize this part existed the first time I played the game. Very secret. I like to just take the elevator here to make him waste a shot. While you're interacting with consoles, elevators, or anything like that in this game, you can't take damage from things, which is quite helpful in situations like that. Okay. Here comes perhaps the most nerve-wracking part of this. The actual jumps. I've died on this platform down here before. The fall damage in this game is pretty precarious, but I think we just about made it. I'm gonna heal again to make sure. Okay, first try. That is definitely the hardest to find material that you need for the AI patch conductor. Now we need to go through and kill the transporter boss. Hopefully we're overpowered enough now to where it shouldn't be an issue. This area is also like pretty fun to run, just from like a navigation standpoint. Got a lot of, like, the platforming in this game is admittedly not great, but once you get used to it, it's not all that bad. Okay. This is a little annoying. They can mess up your jump, which is why I'm just gonna kill them. Again, you want to try to hit this to avoid taking damage. Again, better to kill that guy. I'm actually gonna remove some of my equipment here to get more jump range. I'm not actually sure if that's necessary, probably not, but I feel more comfortable. See if we can dump some points here. I think we have as much energy as we're gonna need, probably. So we're going into this fight with very little health, but he's gonna one-shot us anyway if he hits us with anything, so this fight might also take a couple of attempts, honestly. Or not. So the Branch of Light is an interesting item because it grants you 50,000 axions, I believe. You can use it for some like lore stuff instead, but obviously in the for the purposes of this run, we'd much rather have the 50,000 axions. Also, longest elevator ever. It might actually be faster to port out at this point, maybe. So we're actually going to need to consume this Branch of Light. And that should allow us to upgrade our Hedron twice. That's pretty great. Okay, next up is Port Issoudun. Black Hole Hour keeps just like switching around on me, and it's making me a little bit nervous. Again, I might have to just take a moment out to look some stuff up later, but I'll keep the game running on the menu if I have to do that. If I'd known that it was going to change as I loaded into this area, I might have just actually waited for it. Definitely get this breach for safety, and this armor set that we can dismantle later. I kind of forgot about that, so that's worth a little bit. Some very Star Wars-esque blaster noises coming from those guys. Oh, that was a nice juke right there. So this is a pretty interesting part of the run right here. Now we're basically routing power to the Ateliers. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but okay. That is required for the Architect's quest line in order to get to the final boss. Like I said, this run is complicated. I feel like we're gonna have some enemies as soon as we get up here. So normally here we would go to fight Ozzy, but I'm gonna try to complete the Architect's quest line right now. He can be a little precarious. Sometimes he wants to go back to his starting area and bring you on like a fetch quest. Hopefully we can circumvent that by completing him before we kill Ozzy. That's my theory, at least. So yeah, power has been restored to the high Ateliers. And now we need to craft the patch conductors. Or here comes the interesting part. As to whether we have enough. So we can trash this. But I don't think we have enough. We're missing like 800 Incelium particles right now. So that's unfortunate. I guess we're 500 short. We're very close to Black Hole Hour at the moment, though. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to transport to Arcology, and I'm going to hope that Black Hole Hour sticks so we can unlock the Archon Knight. Okay. This is kind of perfect, actually. We might actually just have to wait a little bit while we're up here. But Black Hole Hour should be activating in just a moment. And then we're going to go Incelium hunting in the Risen Domain. I have a bead on where I can find some, but I might have to look up if we still didn't have enough at that point. So code's here. You can obviously tell I'm kind of looking this up as we go along. Okay, we basically have to wait for black hole hour now, but it shouldn't be more than like a few seconds, I think. Well, there it goes. I think the UI might actually be bugged and not showing black hole hour, even though we currently are. In the right time. This game isn't perfect, you guys, but I do love it. Did I go too far down? I might have gone too far down. I went too far down. Oh, and once again, I am not the best at navigating this particular area. Oh, now it's actually showing black hole hour. Again, Son is definitely one of the more complex and larger areas in the game. Okay, so this is working, that's great. It would have killed him faster if I'd run into him, but I just wanted to play it safe. Okay, now we're getting into some interesting improvisational territory because we need to get more Incelium. So we're going to head to a Risen Domain. So that's going to be a little bit of a trek, a little bit of a time loss, but... Embassy is going to be the closest, I think. So we should be able to get an ingot from the area that we're heading to. $450 Incelium particles. So the question is, how much is a ingot worth? Is it worth 500? Because in that case, if we just dismantle something random, we might have enough. Okay, so from what I've read, there should be open door somewhere in the start of this area. Maybe they're talking, I don't think they're talking about this one because I know this area pretty well. Oh no. Of course now we have to deal with the Isodon enemies in this area too. Again, there's supposed to be an open door here somewhere, but okay, Incelium Rod, that's good. It's 250. I have to say, like, the doors in this area confuse me a lot because you can't really tell which ones are supposed to be open or not. Okay, you guys are gonna have to excuse me for 1 sec while I consult the internet as to where we might find more Incelium. At this point we need 350, I think. Something like that. Okay, so apparently I was missing a small passage, so I was in the right area. I just don't typically explore here because we're just like blasting through it, so I'm not super familiar. Again, sorry for like the short breaks and all, but I really thought I would have more spare Incelium at this point in the run. Oh, here we go. It would have been nice to do this earlier in the run, so keep that in mind, guys, because then you wouldn't have to fight the harder enemies here. Okay, there's our Incelium ingot, and there's gonna be a conductor up here, and I'm gonna just grab it for dismantling purposes. Hopefully now we should have enough stuff. And then after this, we need to kill Ozzy, which we can just go straight ahead and do. And then we've got the 2 final boss fights, and that's it. That's all the bosses. I'm gonna die so much on the last boss, by the way, because he's yeah, you'll see. You'll see. I guess that spare synchronizer we picked up at some point paid off. Again, this run relies pretty heavily on them. Oh, I'm gonna kill the wiki because it will play random sounds, and that's not great. We can actually get rid of these two. And we can process these two. Oh wow, that's more than enough. Okay. Nice. Okay. Okay, so I think we were able to circumvent his quest line, which is great. There's so many places in this run, guys, where you could save a lot of time on just menuing better and routing better and optimizing movement and stuff like that. So I'll be very excited to see where people eventually take this. I mostly just wanted to figure out the overarching strategy for this run, which I think is fairly solid at this point. But obviously, probably people will figure out a better solution later. But this is definitely a good start. Getting hit by this guy over and over again is not a good start, though. There was no way I was going to be able to beat Ozzy with just that sliver of health. So we're just going to quickly jump back to the breach and go back in again. Again, if you guys have any comments for optimizations or questions about stuff in this run, feel free to dump your comments in the video. I'm sure we could have a lot of interesting discussions about how to make this run even better. And I hope this motivates other people to pick up this game as well. Honestly, I was a little bit like trepidatious, is that a word, about picking up All Bosses, because it's got a lot of stuff going on, but it's actually a pretty cool run, to be honest. Come on, don't do this to me, Ozzy. Okay. I guess we could infuse here. I'm honestly a little scared because I'm noticing that my level is not as high as when I did this, the test run for this, essentially. So I'm worried that I'm going to be underpowered for the final boss. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's going to take a lot of attempts to kill that guy. If you've been here before and you don't recognize it being this bright, this is what happens when you turn on the power to this area, which is necessary for the Architect's questline. It's kind of cool. It's got this very like sterile, almost like some of the areas in like, was it Prometheus that had like chambers like this? This game, like this entire game, has a lot of like Alien / Event Horizon stuff going on. Okay, let's see how many attempts this takes. I do actually have a healing proficiency that I haven't converted, so maybe that will be useful, I don't know. That was tight. That was pretty sweet. I suppose in theory you could go back and spend some of those Axions, but that would be a time loss. Not a big time loss. Maybe worth it even. I like how the loading screen just goes straight into the fight. So this guy is this is some Persona-esque shit right here. Also, yeah, total epilepsy warning for this guy, by the way. It gets a lot worse than this. Oh, that was so close. Oh man, we were doing really well. I was kind of getting hopeful that we might get it first try. You really want to stay behind him as much as humanly possible. This is the worst attack to dodge, by the way. Where he does like the crisscrossing lines. I'm not super proficient at dodging the AoE attack he does. But luckily you can take that hit. It was just unfortunate that one of his drones had a follow-up attack right there. So it is actually beneficial to kill the drones, in my experience. Oh, that attack is also pretty bad. So far though, I'm quite happy with the patterns this cycle. Okay, this is a little tough because he has a lot of add-ons right now. And I have 0 energy, which makes it a little tough. We did it, guys. All Bosses Glitchless, Hellpoint. Gotta wait for the credits, and then we'll see what kind of time we get. I'm thinking this is really good, though, honestly. Drum roll here. So yeah, my trial run was like 5 hours, 38 minutes with a lot of mistakes and like research and exploration going on. And this one is going to be a 1 hour, 42 minutes. That's actually kind of crazy. That's way under my estimate. Thanks for watching, guys. This was actually super fun. This is a really cool run to do. It's a little, there's so much to keep in mind that it's a little bit nerve-wracking that you might like miss something or mess up at some spot. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Again, leave comments in the video if there's stuff that you're curious about. I'm probably going to take a little bit of a break from running Hellpoint because I've spent a lot of time doing it recently, but it's been super enjoyable, and it's been really great to see people following and reacting positively. So thanks again, guys, and until next time, I hope you guys are staying safe, and I'll see you all around.